we lose sight of the debt in dollars because it's boring and because in our lifetime, unless you're old enough to have lived through the Depression, which I realize that's one or two, but we've never really experienced a real financial crisis of any kind. Oh, I know about the Great Recessions and stuff like that and the housing prices and whatnot. Believe me, I lost my shirt during that. I get that. It's not like we've never experienced any financial bumps. Is that a good way to put that? But, I mean, real disaster. Real disaster. You ever see those pictures of the Weimar Republic? That's Germany after World War I. After World War I, the world put all these stupid, crippling reparations payments on Germany, and they took away a bunch of Germany's economy, areas where they had their economy, and so they were just bankrupt. So they just started, stop me if you've heard this before, printing money. They just started printing money. Good thing we wouldn't do anything like that here, but they just started printing money, and now you can go do a little internet search while you watch. You'll see people walking around with wheelbarrows full of money to go buy a loaf of bread. The money was so worthless, they just started chucking it in fires. People were starving to death in the middle of the streets. You see, because we've never experienced real crisis like that, we don't understand that it's the economy, it's the debt. These things, in the end, they're all that matters. And we are heading for disaster. But the problem is people have warned about that for years. Disaster's coming. The debt's going to kill us. Disaster's coming. So now everyone's numb to it. Well, you're starting to get just a brief glimpse of it now. All those cargo ships parked off the shore. Notice those prices going up a lot. Gas, groceries. You're starting to see the early stages of what's coming, and it's going to be really, really bad. And not like anything we've experienced. But let's be honest. This isn't all on Joe Biden. I'm going to get into Joe Biden's speech today. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to play you a couple clips about that. But this isn't all on Joe Biden. I mean, Joe Biden got up today and said this, and God forgive me, but he's not wrong.
The reason we have to raise the debt limit is in part because of the reckless tax and spending policies under the previous Trump administration. In 4 years, they incurred nearly $8 trillion. In 4 years, $8 trillion in additional debt. Republicans in Congress raised the debt 3 times when Donald Trump was president, and each time with Democrat support. But now they won't raise it, even though they're responsible for more than $8 trillion in bills incurred in 4 years under the previous administration.
Stop me when you hear the lie. And I know that's not what we like to do, right? It's fun every day to wake up and say, it's all their fault. There weren't many of us on the right during Trump's 4 years. There weren't many of us stepping up and saying, why is Congress passing these huge, swampy spending bills? And why is Donald Trump signing them every time? And there wasn't one or two. There were tons of them. $1 trillion here, $1 trillion there, sailing through the Republican House, sailing through the Republican Senate, or once the Democrats got control, all kinds of Republican support for this huge bill and that huge bill. And every time they got to the desk of the president, and every time he signed off on it, spending more money than Barack Obama did. And some of us during that time were stepping up saying, what are you doing? Are you out of your mind? The debt is going crazy. That's one. Two, we're not going to have a leg to stand on when a Democrat gets in there and we start complaining about the spending. And yet, here we are. Here we are. Nobody wants to do the hard things. It's part of the reason we're in such a pickle right now in this country. Everyone wants to do the popular things because that feels good, right? Who doesn't love cheering crowds? Nobody wants to step up and say, yeah, we're cutting that program. That program's cut. This government department's going away entirely. That grant money's gone. Foreign aid, see ya. Nobody wants to do that. These congressmen and senators, here's the truth of it. They love to sit around a big table with a big pile of your money sitting in the middle of it. And they just love to hand it out. And that's not the worst part. You know what the worst part is? We as an American people, we love to get it. I know I'm not supposed to say that. And maybe that's not you personally. I saw it running for office. I've seen it with the friends I have inside DC. People love spending. They love it. They ask for it. Government wouldn't spend this much if people actually cared. Now, here's the thing people do, though. This is what they do to justify it. Maybe you're doing this in their mind. No, I stop spending. Quit spending that much money. You're going to bankrupt us. Okay, well, let's cut this federal program that benefited your area. Whoa! Don't come for my stuff. It's where we are. But look, let's go back to Joe Biden, the most tyrannical, secretive, divisive president of my lifetime by a mile. Here he is, pointing fingers.
Raising the debt limit is about paying off our old debts. There's nothing to do with any new spending being considered. There's nothing to do with my plan for infrastructure or building back better. Zero.
Well, that's a lie. But still, he's going on and on and on about it, pointing fingers, blaming Republicans, telling them to get out of the way. I'll be interested to see where these bills go. But remember this. Remember, all the stuff we argue about and yell about, me too, I'm guilty of it too, none of it matters with that debt freight train a-coming. And nobody is going to realize that until the train gets here, and then it's going to hurt bad. Hey, thanks so much for watching the first on YouTube. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and like and subscribe. You heard me. Like it, subscribe. You'll get a lot more of it and a lot more of me.